somebody punch a note out as well to say that we're recording it?
Yeah, I'll do that now, mate.
Doesn't help with the questions though, does it?
No, but they can email the questions through, perhaps to one person. If they can all email the questions to Jess, perhaps, and then we'll do what Mick does, is just work through those questions in as much as we can to respond to them.
Yeah, because it's all coming through on that COVID email at the moment.
Mm.
Yeah.
Andy, I suggest you do continue those so that
right, okay.
You can get some of the message across at least.
Yeah.
And like I said, we'll share the recording.
So basically, the forum that myself and Howard have with Network Rail doesn't really work for us to be able to push back the way that we need to push back. So I'm going to be asking Adam on an email tonight that we have a separate call so we can address these issues, because Stoneblower is separate to tamping and plain lining, and all that, S&C and all the other bits and bobs. So we need to deal with that. But a lot of the stuff is being asked around is essential work. So again, literally everybody on that call this morning mentioned the fact that Network Rail need to issue an essential work list. We were told again and that list is being finalised, and that it will be with us either tomorrow or within the next 48 hours. Again, I will press for that list tomorrow to make sure that we know and we understand what is being classed as essential work, so we know, speed restrictions, etc. That needs to be our effort of concentration. The next area, obviously, that everybody is currently worried about is the 2 metre space. How do we manage this? Okay, so I've gone out to a couple of you guys this afternoon with some of the information that we've had from other companies about what they're trying to do. So other companies actually, in my opinion, are not thinking about this correctly. So they're going around and putting on masks. Well, masks actually don't help you at all. Okay, and that's clear, and that guidance has come down from the WHO. But what do? So everybody's saying that basically a lot of our issues is where we get where we have to have a route conductor in the cab. So if we didn't have a route conductor, we would have the driver there. We would have the guy who does the other, I forget what they call him, but you'd have the operator in that bit, and you could have somebody in the rear cab. However, if we have to have a route conductor, then you're not going to get that two metre separation. So what can we do? Again, guys, I have to apologise because the buckets that should have arrived today, again, we've been let down with the couriers, so we've ordered new couriers, so they will be with us. The alcohol gels, again, I was told they were going to be dispatched yesterday. They've been delayed, but they've gone today. They have gone today. I've got the email to confirm that. We have now got the list. Sam Beveridge has got the list of the centralised stock, which is for all of the cleaning kit, for your hand gels, your wiping stuff down for the cabin. I don't know. So we're putting in for an order on that now. So I've got to look at your PPE. So we all need to make sure now that you've got double the amount of PPE, so you can have a set in the wash and a set on. We need to make sure that we've got the gloves and we've got all of the cleaning materials. Now, at some point, if we have a route conductor on, we're not going to have that separation. That is where we are. Now, TQS will get on the machine to approve the drawings. We can manage that, and I've asked somebody to look at that of how we're not on the machine at the same time that he goes on, and vice versa. So we're minimising everybody's exposure. When it comes to having a route conductor, I haven't got that solid answer, apart from we need to make sure we're not shaking hands. We need to make sure that we've given you the right kit to clean the cab down with. We need to make sure that you're changing your gloves regular and you're not touching your nose, your face, your mouth, your hair, etc. We need to make sure that you keep as much distance as possible. Now, the NHS guidelines on the 2 metre says that if I were to stand with somebody's not, can somebody go on mute? Dominic, I think it's you, to be honest. So if you're standing talking to somebody a metre away, okay, or closer than that, you're not automatically going to get it. There is a 15-minute, what they call the 15-minute window of transmission. Okay, so that means within that, if you was to stay there for 15 minutes or longer, the likelihood of that virus being transferred to you that way is further increased. So we could look at, I don't know, I'm waiting for some advice around how we can do that. You know, how we work this with the route conductors in, and that's one of the questions to go back to Network Rail tomorrow.
Andrew, it's not just route conductors. We've got guys who are specially monitored that have to have somebody with them when they're driving. So it's not just route conductors.
Okay.
You'll need to look at who we've got specially monitored, who requires an additional member of staff with them.
Okay, so Mark, if I pick up with you, then as I say, I haven't. If we're working on 3 people only on a machine, as you know, as a way forward, yeah, then I think we can control that by moving off the machine, allowing the TQS in, etc. What we need to do now is look at, as Mark's just said, then if we've got a route conductor on, if we've got somebody on monitoring the driving, etc., we then need to come up with a plan. So I need, basically what I'm asking for, guys, is some of the team leaders to work with me, Mark, Howard, Steve, and Andy of what that looks like, so I can get it back to Dominica and the team and go, look, this is what we can manage, but it might not be ideal, but it's the best we can do within the confined space. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so PPE, guys, I'm going to be sending out an email later today or first thing tomorrow morning, which is just going to be asking for your PPE requirements. So I want to make sure that you've got 2 sets. Okay, so you can have one in the wash and one on as much as possible.
Andy.
Yeah.
I spoke to the hotel here today at Bexley, and their laundry is closing down. They will not be able to take any laundry.
Okay, and that means that obviously laundrettes outside. I mean, I'm not sure. I'll have to find out whether they're
going to be closed because they won't want people to congregate.
Yeah. Okay.
The guidance is it seems this was a confined space issue and transmission issue, and I know we're putting up all these safeguard measures to PPE, this, that, the next thing, but really for to go and do a mile of plain line that's 1.4, I mean, really, what kind of strategy are we having to do with this, working on speed restrictions and actual meaningful work? Is that, you know, I don't want to put my family at risk and myself at risk for a mile of plain line that doesn't even need doing.
No, and that's where, James, I think 100%.
Yep.
You know, we are kicking back, and tomorrow's call, to be honest, is I want that list from Network Rail. They've had over a week now to produce that, essential work list. We need to have it as one of their suppliers now, so we can start to work around what needs to be done and what members of staff we need to have out on the ground at any one time. That's going to be my pushback tomorrow.
A quick one on hotels. Am I still there?
Yeah.
Quick one on hotels. They're pretty unpleasant places now, and they're the people that are staying there are obviously, you know, crucial workers or businessmen or whatever it is they are, but the numbers are greatly reduced, the services are greatly reduced, but you still have to use lifts, and you go in a lift and you don't know who's coming on the next floor. It's just, the whole thing is becoming a bit I don't know, uncomfortable. I don't mind going about my business like anybody else, but it seems to be the risk levels increasing, and I don't know if there's any answers. I certainly don't have any on that one. The confined space bothers me. It bothers me greatly. Having worked at the weekend with you know, the crew, I think it was like 5 or 6 people all over the place, you know, and when you're getting a brief, you know, I just don't know how you can do it.
Well, I mean, your brief should be done outside now, where you've all got that, you know, the space. So the cost brief and everything else needs to be done outside. And then, as I say, we need to limit the access to the cab. So, you know, if the TQS needs to go in to approve the design, we get off. He goes in, he approves the design, he comes off, we go back on. That's the way that we've got to run it at this point, if we can do it that way. But then obviously I understand, you know, I know about the route conductor. I now know that we, you know, from Mark, that we could have people overseeing the drivers, etc. You know, I haven't got all the answers right now, as I said, so I'm trying to put something in place for the normal.
You've also got 2 guys standing side by side doing the spotting and the measuring of the job. That can take up to half an hour to an hour, depending on how the track's marked up. So you've got 2 colleagues standing side by side for in between 15 minutes to an hour, spotting and measuring the job.
I think I got a text from the government, don't go out of the house today. Don't go out of the house. That tells you all you need to know.
Andrew, I don't think it's very practical to not have a TQS on the machine. I think you're going to have one on there, because you know, it's really going to be impractical not to have one on there. I did ask last week in an email whether we could have cost briefs and PTS cards done remotely, so there's a separate cost, so they don't have to come on the machine. I didn't particularly get an answer from that. So yeah, it's impractical at the moment, I believe, especially we're doing switch work. You need the TQS there for every screen you're going through, and to be getting on and off the machine, you know, really it's not going to work. Just my opinion.
So you're from, I mean, at the end of the state is then, so you guys, look, you've got all the experience. So you're telling me that there is no way, shape or form that we can operate without having the minimum amount of stuff on that machine. Is that the message that I'm getting back? Because all I'm trying to do is understand it, because a lot of the other companies that are operating the tampers and everything else, they're managing to put stuff in place. If there is a route conductor on, yes, they know that there's a confined space. Yes, they then have to deal with that by making sure that they concentrate on their personal hygiene, that they concentrate on not you know, rubbing into each other and all of that sort of stuff. So we need to try, because we are that essential workforce at this point in time for Network Rail, we need to try to get a solution to get this done.
I think I would just add to that with the TGS, sorry for butting in, Andrew, but when, especially up here, where the track isn't generally marked, we're having to edit and input transitions, and we have to do that, and the TGS is part of that process. I mean, he'll give you the yea or nay as to whether the transition is, you know, acceptable, and we just, you know, we can't get off the machine. It just doesn't. I don't see it working that way. I mean, yeah, by all means, whatever solution you can get is great, but I think to separate the TGS is track provider. It's his track.
I've sent this out to a couple of the team leaders to have a look at, to try and give me the best advice possible, because I don't work Stoneblowers. You know, I sit behind a desk trying to make sure that the contract runs and that, you know, everybody gets what they need to get from it. So I don't understand probably the implications of saying, oh, you can't have, you know, can we take the TQS off? So I've asked 2 of the experienced, you know, guys to give me that guidance from the ground as to what can in reality be achieved and what can't be achieved, and then highlight the reasons why that can't be achieved, so I can feed that back and then try to, you know, we can then speak to Network Rail. I can speak to the exec. Dominica is on here to support me then to deal with this back into the exec, because I don't, you know, we might not have that picture, guys. You know, well, I definitely haven't. I definitely don't know what works and what doesn't work on a Stoneblower, and that's why I'm asking for that guidance. So look, I get everybody's concern about the 2 metre. I get that you are all scared, worried, frightened for your families, for you, and the fact that, you know, we don't have all of the right cleaning products on there at this time. We are now.
None.
Well, there should be some today, because I've had the email to say they've been delivered today.
Andy,
Yeah,
the Balfour BT communications that came out this afternoon
yeah,
about avoiding close working
yeah,
actually says that if the task cannot be undertaken safely, either because of lack of suitably qualified personnel or social distancing being implemented, it should not take place. And that came out this afternoon from the Balfour BT.
yeah. I saw it.
How do we reconcile that going against what our own company's saying?
Yeah, sorry, can I just jump in there? You're right. We were on a call discussing. So that guidance originated from a construction industry consortium, and the wording in the guidance we received was slightly different. The wording when we were reviewing it at about 2:00 this afternoon said if it's essential work and it can't be avoided, it still needs to go ahead. So we have actually responded to the Balfour BT guidance saying that that's not what they shared with us earlier. So we're asking for clarification on that, because, like I said, the wording was essential work where it can't be avoided will still need to go ahead. So I don't have an answer, but we have picked up on that discrepancy, and we are asking for further clarification on this.
Okay, thank you, Dominica.
You know, guys, I get all of your concerns, and you know, and so does Dominica, and literally everybody else that's on the calls every day. What I will say around this 2 metre bit is I will push back on Network Rail tomorrow again around the essential work. I'm not sure, are we then, if the laundrettes are closing as well, you know, around the PPE, I'll have to have another think and speak to Dominica and the rest of the team and see what we can come up with.
Andy, I'll just sorry, butt in again. I apologise. So just a couple of things. In terms of the laundrettes, there's an official guidance that was issued from the government this morning just to clear up of what businesses need to shut and what businesses don't need to shut. And actually, laundrettes are in the category where there's an exemption. They're actually expecting laundrettes and other places, similar places, to stay open. So we will need to actually follow up on that to understand why these laundrettes. I understand hotels may be closing them. However, hotels, again, for key workers are meant to stay open. But I get that hotels, you're getting nervous about that because of who's staying and you don't know who's around. I suppose that risk is no different to you going shopping, etc. But we recognise that we need to address that. In terms of the cabs and the route conductors, there is a Network Rail is leading a bit of a, if I can call it, a working group with the OTM industry, where they are issuing guidance, cab etiquette, and what can and can't happen. So this is not only being addressed by us as Balfour BT, we are having the communications with Network Rail and all the other OTM suppliers. So those documents are being put together to assess those risks where you do need to have an extra person in the cab and how we manage that. But absolutely from that consortium, there is those strict instruction, like Andy has already said, about COS briefings, etc. In terms of having the specially monitored guys, already on TGS, we've stopped all mentoring. So obviously that's had an effect on driver training. So in terms of anybody on SMD where it's a slightly shorter term problem, we'll look at that separately. The TQS, we'll have to take that away and see how we manage it. We've got a similar problem on the MPVs where they're doing weed spray campaigns where you have to have a separate person in the cab doing the weed spray operation alongside the driver and how that's being managed. But that is being mitigated. Those guys are in a cab together for a couple of hours. So we'll have to take that away and have a separate conversation. But all of that is being addressed. So that's kind of the only I can't even use the words reassurance, but the only feedback I can give you right now.
Can I just interject here for a second, Andy, Dominica? I'm struggling at the minute, but we'll speak about things like laundering your PPE, getting fed, hotels, etc. When you break down the day as a whole, the guy's on shift for so long, he's then got to go try and find a laundrette, he's then got to go find somewhere to eat, and then got to make sure his hotel's still booked. The pressure, I just feel like we'll get to the point where this is untenable for the guys. It's unmanageable for them as an individual, never mind us as a group, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. You know, I know that you guys are fielding calls from the guys on a daily basis around food, lodgings, and everything else. You know, it's just not an easy one to solve. As I've said, we keep trying to push forward, and then something else sort of moves in the way. I think I need to get the advice back from the guys on the ground about what we can do about the 2 metre spacing. That's for sure. I'll get that back. I will then speak to the team tomorrow morning. Right, okay, we can do this if we don't have X, Y, and Z on board. Procurement, central procurement now from Balfour Beatties are aware of the hotel issues that we're facing and what we're facing through with ATPI. So I now need to send another list to Chloe tonight to say, okay, and I made her aware on the call I was just on, IHG now are closing some of those down. And the problem you have with IHG is IHG as a group owns some, but then you have some independents on the IHG banner. So, you know, the independent ones might be closing down because that's what they feel that they need to do to preserve cash because they're not within the bigger group. I don't know. I'm just surmising there. So I'll get that to see what procurement can do. Central procurement now have given us that list. Sam Beveridge, if he's on the call, can confirm we've got the list now for all of the centrally held stock for cleaning products. Wasn't aware it was even there. We've now got it today. We started to put the order in today. So hopefully that will come through to us pretty quickly. Food, as I said to everybody right at the start, okay, we are not, if it's a remote area and we know now where the guys are down in Chura, I think it is, that there is nothing there right now and the guys are on a Chinese coming from 6 miles away tonight. That's not acceptable. We can't do that long term, can't do it. So we need to review that tomorrow morning and then speak to Network Rail. We need to get the essential list of work out of Network Rail and then speak to them around what we can and what we can't do in reality. Because as you say,
Andrew, we haven't got any food down here at the moment. There is nowhere. The Chinese, the Indians are all closed. They've either closed because of COVID-19 or they're just closed because it's a Tuesday.
The last call I had is somebody, one of the ops guys has made inquiries. Just Eat, there is a facility to get some food down there tonight to you guys, so we're going to pass that on. But then tomorrow, we can't, if there is nothing down there, Mark, for you guys to eat at all, and I don't doubt what you're saying to me, then we can't operate down there. It's as simple and as easy as that, and we need to pull you back.
Sorry, the official government advice is that most pubs and places are, although have had to shut, they can't allow people in there, they're actually being encouraged to offer takeaways. I mean, I know all the pubs in my sort of area have done exactly that. The government has restricted their planning permissions or licensing, whatever it is that they need, to allow them to do this. So I think it'll be, we need to explore those options to make sure that none of those local restaurants and pubs are not offering that.
That's Dominic. To be fair to the guys have done that. They've been down there now for about 3 days and they've literally lived off nothing.
Down in Cornwall is closing down. The hotels are getting abuse online, so they are closing completely.
Okay, you see, so the hotels are meant to remain open for key workers.
Dominica?
Okay. Yeah.
Tourist area, and I've been in. This is our 3rd hotel this week already, and I can assure you, all of them are saying the same. Our hotel is now physically closed. The hotel's completely closed down, but we've managed still to get a room. I don't know whether we've got a room tomorrow. So
Mark,
it's closed now for some reason.
And I think so. Back to Andy's comment is if the hotels are closing and there is really no place to eat, we absolutely need to get you guys back home from there because we clearly can't operate in there, and that's going to have to be fed back to Network Rail.
Hello, this is Jason Philpotts. Can I interject?
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly. I'm in a hotel currently in Telford with Ken Hall. We've had the same letter from IHG with being kicked out. I've got Keys Hall in West Ealing. He's in the same situation. Crown Plaza shutting tomorrow. Next week I've got bookings for 5 staff, 210 and 211. Those bookings have been cancelled. It's okay saying let's book other hotels. Let's consider what's the situation with rest. We're spending all our time trying to book other hotels in between shifts when we should be taking rest.
Okay, well, I mean, for that side then, Jason, that's look, we can assist with that. Okay, so we will get Vicky Catherine's team. So if that's necessary, which obviously it is, to assist you guys, then we'll go through instead of booking your own, we'll go through the central function. So I will have to just link in with the ROMs and link Vicky in to understand where your shifts are, what you've got to do, and then Vicky will try and get those hotels booked for you guys.
Okay. Well, as of this time, 12 o'clock tomorrow, I have no hotel. Ken Hall has no hotel. Keys Hall has no hotel. I'm quite willing for somebody else to take that responsibility on. For me, it's one thing I haven't got to do. But what I'm trying to say is, this is like obviously a fluid situation. We could move into summer tomorrow, and this could be happening again tomorrow.
Yep.
And then you're also saying find food. How much time do we find trying to find food when not all the restaurants are shut down?
Okay. Have you got food tonight in the hotel?
Tonight, yes. I'm going to go to work tonight, come back tomorrow. I have to set an alarm clock to get myself up because I don't know where I'm going to be tomorrow.
Right. Has anybody, have we contacted ATPI as of yet?
As of yet, no, I haven't done it as of yet. No, unfortunately, I've had other personal issues going on as well.
Sorry to interrupt. Yeah, sorry, Jamie. We're down in 210 down in Par. All the hotel phones are either off, busy, or you can't get through, whatever. And ATPI are in the same thing. They won't pick up. They'll say they get back to you. So we can't get through to anybody to get any sort of assistance or list of what's open and what isn't.
Right. I mean, look, try and rebook for tonight, for tomorrow. Okay. I will raise this all again on the calls tomorrow. The guys down in Cornwall, we need to get them back. So the ops guys, Howard, me, we need to have a quick call after this. I'll let Adam. Well, we need to let SOC know through control that we're having to pull them back because there is no food. So tonight, have you got food down there tonight, Mark, for tonight or not?
No, we've got to now go out. We've been out for 3 hours from lunchtime trying to find places open. There's possibly a Domino's either in Bodmin or St Austell, but we're going to have to drive out after this call to try and find whether we can get any food anywhere.
Mark, what rest have you had today? Steve Gear, mate. What rest have you had today, Mark?
6 o'clock this morning. I got up about 11:30, 12 o'clock because we're concerned about where we're going to be and whether we're going to get any food.
And you were thrown out the hotel as well, I gather.
Well, we're still, this whole hotel where we're staying is completely closed, but we're in a block outside of the hotel, so we've got a room at the moment.
Yeah, I suggest you head home, mate. I honestly do. I think it's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous.
Situation's becoming untenable, really, isn't it?
And
It is.
I think the hotels also can't really be classed as a safe place, just regarding hygiene, having cleaners. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's like a 100% sure place as well.
Right, Steve, let's get the guys home. Okay, let's let Network Rail know that shift cannot go ahead tonight because number one, they haven't had enough rest because they've been hunting down for food and they've been kicked out of the hotel, and that there's no chance that those shifts down that area will go ahead because all the hotels are closing. So I want that done straight away after this call. The other guys that are now stuck in London with no hotels, try and rebook tonight for tomorrow. I will raise this now. Dominique is on this call with me, so I'm going to speak to Dominica straight after this, and we will have to pick this up straight away with the exec to see what we do. Okay, because this is emerging, as we know, and it is going to get more and more difficult. I will speak to Network Rail in the morning, and I will push back with Howard as to get that essential list and to see what we can do to make this more safe and more tenable for everybody. So Network Rail get what they want, and we get what we need out of it to make sure that you are able to be housed, fed, and do your shift, and also get your rest and not putting yourselves in danger. That's all I can say that I can do tonight. Okay, and I think I've been pretty honest and open. I do everything that I say I'm going to do, and that's what I will do tonight. So I will, as soon as this is done, I will pick up with Dominica, and we need to, Dominica and I will feed this back in, and then I will feed it into Network Rail.
Yeah, we'll have these conversations tonight with the exec as well. But yeah, absolutely support what you've just said, Andy.
Steve, I want the guys out there tonight, mate.
Yeah, we'll do that, and we need to think about all the rest of the team as well. If they're struggling finding hotels, let us know.
Listen, we'll call it. Listen. I want to make this really, 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 really clear. Okay. I have a duty of care to every single one of you out there. Okay. And I am not having you exceeding your rest periods, not being able to be housed, searching around for food, and all the rest of it, okay? You come first. Shit or bust, you come first, okay? My job now is to manage Network Rail's expectations. It's difficult, but that's what I'm paid to do, and that's what I will do tomorrow. And again, tonight, I'm going to drop Adam an email and saying I want a chat with him tomorrow morning before the main call. We need to find a way through this. I don't know how that picture looks right now. I'm going to have to take guidance from my seniors because I don't have the ability to make all of those decisions. But the decisions I'm making tonight are pretty damn clear. If you go to your ops managers and you say you've expended all avenues to get food, to get a hotel bed, to make sure you're safe and comfortable for the night so you can do a shift tomorrow, then we pull you. End of. And we notify Network Rail the reasons why. Okay, it's not up for discussion. That's the way that we have to be. Okay, because your safety and your welfare comes first. I can't say fairer than that. Me and Dominica, after this call, will get this up to the exec so we can start to work through this, because they will have lines into Network Rail that I don't have from mixed level and above mixed level. Okay. That's all I can say I can do tonight, but I'm not having the guys down in Cornwall in this position, and I'm not having the guys in London in a position where, yes, they'll be good for tonight, but they're going to exceed tomorrow because they're going to be traipsing around looking for a hotel and then food. So try your best, the guys in London tonight. I forget who I was talking to, sorry. See what you can do tonight to get ATPI to book you somewhere tomorrow. Make sure you link in with the ops guys. Ops guys, if we need to pull it, we let Network Rail know. The reasons why we're doing it is rest, food, hotels, done. That's it. Okay, guys, I can't say fairer than that now. That's what I can do. I can guarantee you that I'm on top of the cleansing stuff. We're trying to work our way around the 2 meter rule stuff. I put that out to the guys, so I'm not making those decisions, as I said to you before. There's no point me doing that. I'm asking for help from the ground, as I have done. I'll get that back, so that, you know, the guys will give me that back. We'll then see how that looks. We'll feed that in and see where we go. That's all I can do right now at this point. Is there anything else that anybody wants to raise before I just go on to some other bits?
Hi Andy, it's Ian McHugo on the MPS. On Friday we got a transit, but on Thursday we got a logistics day, and it means that 3 of us have got to sit in one van for over 2.5, maybe 3 hours, and I think that is just madness.
Howard, you sent me an email on that this morning, didn't you?
Yeah, I said, Ian, by all means, what we'll do is if you go and hire a car to make their moves, and then obviously just claim back our expenses on how we're going to pay for it. Jessica Palmer to be able to guide you on that, so you don't have to all sat in the same van.
Well, they're 5-seater vans, but a car's going to be. It's logistic wise of where we've got to put the machine afterwards and stuff.
Right. Okay. So again, Ian, I would say that if looking at that, it's not practical to do that because of the constraints of the movement, the fact that we're not. I don't know. Put it down to your ops. Let's look at it with the planners, and if we don't think it's the safest thing to do and the most sensible job to be doing, then we push back to Network Rail. That one's not going ahead because of X, Y, and Z reasons. Replan it. Give us another job.
Yeah, okay. I'll put it all in. I'll pull it all in the email when I finish this conference call.
Yeah.
Andrew, that is that shift that Ian's on about is the one that we're getting pressure on by the area to cover because it's apparently critical. The machines are due to be in Anglia until week 2, so we have to get them both over there. It's if they want the shift in Anglia, basically get them both over there. So I don't know if we'll have to do it separately or think of other ways to do it, but we haven't got the guys, so.
Yeah,
right,
I suggest we take this one offline because I don't think we're going to solve it on this call. So let Ian send the information through, and Zara, then between you and Ian and whoever, Howard, you need to look at if there are other options or not. Yeah, you're not going to solve it on this call, I don't think, and I don't. Yeah.
Just give me all the facts. So I've got it for the call tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Right. Is there anything else, guys, before I cover off these last couple of bits? No. Right.
I think I would just add to that. Jim Judge 215. We do a lot of in starting one place, ending up another. Quite a regular feature of the work in Scotland, and that would mean that people are picked up from stabling point and getting back to the van, which can be sometimes an hour, like Keane's just mentioned. That's quite a frequent occurrence, actually. It's something that we do all the time because Network Rail like to plan things in that way.
So what you're saying that you because of you have to share the vehicles, you don't think that, so is that what we're talking about, pre-positioning the vehicles?
Yeah,
I think this is happening all the time, Andy, with a lot of the fleet. They have to put vans in position before they actually move machines.
So
this
Andy,
is a norm.
Yeah, Andy, I think what we are saying is that we need to speak to Network Rail that under the current situation where we're undertaking urgent or critical maintenance work for them, we need to make sure the machines go back to the stabling point they started from. So they need to help us by replanning that work to say that we'll have to have or just do separate transit moves. So the machine goes back to the stabling point it started with, and the next day, if we have enough crew, we'll do a separate transit. But of course, that's.
I think what it is, the 301 and 303 are flat out this week and relying on the guys. Obviously, they're working nights, and then we have to move it on Friday. Really, they should be planning transits during the evening to get it to position,
Yeah, so I think that's what we're saying. We need to take this offline. It's the separate conversation that Andy's going to have with Adam. We understand we need to keep the rail industry moving. We understand we need to do, track maintenance work to make sure that passenger trains and freight is working, but we need their help to like Andy's really working on it, prioritize what needs to be done and how we can deliver those shifts under the circumstances. So I think, Andy's already said it will be his, conversation he'll be having with Adam tomorrow morning. But yeah, it's all very good points, very relevant, and yes, we do need to recognise that under the current.
Is the point here about social distancing? Is that the point here regarding transit moves? And obviously, if a machine moves from A and finishes at B, the guy that took it still needs to get back to his van, so he needs to be picked up by one form or another.
Yeah, that's it.
So that's really the issue in this, isn't it?
Yeah.
The other issue, Ken Hall, this is the other issue we've got. We haven't got enough manpower to do that with the route knowledge.
Yeah. I mean, it depends how far we take this, because, you know, that again, back to the essential work and no gatherings of more than 2 people and the 2 meter distance. There is still recognition that there will be situations where people being taken to site or from site will still end up being in the same van, and I think they're trying to restrict that to a maximum of 3 people, a driver plus 2 passengers. But we recognise that how that applies and how safe that is something we need to still discuss further. So I think for the time being, let Andy take all of this away, discuss this with Adam tomorrow morning, and then we can get back to you on that.
Right. Is there anything else, guys, on ops?
Yes, Steve, Sean Kirby. Just like to give our best wishes and thoughts to those who've self-isolated with their families, and wish them all the best.
No, totally agree, mate.
Yeah, thanks, Sean. That's to everybody. Yeah, totally agree.
Cheers, Sean.
Agreed.
Actually,
Right.
I'd say, and a massive thanks to all of you guys that are still out there working. That's, you know, been noted by a number of people already that, you know, we still have a workforce, which we're really grateful for all of your support with this.
Right, guys. So, letter for police checkpoints has come up today. So obviously the letter that we issued out was for from Network Rail as essential workers for your childcare type stuff. So Stuart Murty, Kim Haggerty are working on that, so I should have that either tonight or tomorrow morning, but that will be issued out as soon as I have it. And I know Stuart's phoned me during this call, so I'll pick back up with Stuart on that to make sure that that is sent out to you and that you've got it. The pay questions, okay, so I spoke to Chloe today. Some of it came to her late this morning, so I'm going to repeat exactly what I've been told. So if you self-isolate, you get sick pay. If your wife self-isolates, it's sick pay as per what the government says, because you're isolating. If you are in the vulnerable group and you self-isolate, it's sick pay. And we need to then, at some point, not necessarily straight away, we'll need that doctor's letter to say that obviously you were in the vulnerable group and that you qualify to be off for that period of time because of X, Y, and Z. So that is directly from what Chloe has told me, who is the head of on-track maintenance today, and that's what I've relayed to you guys. So there is no reasons to worry about pay for taking to self-isolate, or your family self-isolating, or sadly, if you are in one of those groups, vulnerable groups, and we need, and you need to self-isolate for 3 months. So that's the stance from Balfour Beatty on that point. Just so you know, today we had noticed that, not that it really affects you guys, I don't think, but I'll let you know anyway, because it was one of the issues. The quarry, the Colburn quarry is closing this evening, so they have sourced some more stone today, and the other quarry, Mount Sorrel, is still under repair after the floods that they've experienced in Leicester. So we're waiting for an update from Network Rail how that looks. So that'll be another fluid situation. There is quite a bit of stone apparently I think it's in Crewe that Network Rail are considering using. But again, I'll update you as to how that looks every evening on the call, and I'm dealing with that with Adam as well tomorrow. I am on an actual contract review meeting with Adam as well tomorrow. So if I can't address a lot of these issues on the main call at 11:15, luckily enough, I'm on with him early doors, so I will be able to address these issues directly for Stoneblower with Adam, and I will feed back tomorrow night. But look, it's not a pretty situation, lads. I totally and utterly get it. I don't want to keep you much longer because you need to get your food and then get out the doors and that. But like I say, I appreciate everything that you're doing, and I really, really do. It is a really difficult time for you and for the business and for your families and everything else, and I'm acutely aware of that because I've got my own issues here at home. I will try to get you the answers to the questions that you've raised. I will continue to support you guys with as much as I can humanly possibly do, and I will keep you fed with all the information that you need to be, that you need to have in good order. So look, if there's no more for tonight, I'll draw it to a close. I'm going to pick up with Dominica straight after, and then I will pick up with you tomorrow as soon as I hear anything else. Okay.
Andy, just very quickly, mate, before we lock off, we've had an email back from Stu, mate. He's saying that the letter's only for school cover, and as rail workers, key workers, if you stop by the police and challenge, etc., then a simple explanation to the policeman, the police person who stops you, would suffice to allow you to continue your travel to your place of work. So it doesn't look like there's going to be a letter coming out as such. You just need to have discussion with whoever stops you.
I'll speak to him, mate.
Okay, mate. No problem.
Okay. All right, guys, ladies. I'll draw it to a close. Thanks for attending. I know it's, like I say, I know we haven't provided you with clarity around a lot of stuff, but hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to. So have a good night, stay safe, and I'll speak to you tomorrow. Okay.